It is Super Tuesday, one of the most important days in the presidential nominating process because so many delegates are up for grabs. 13 states participate in Super Tuesday, from the Southeast all the way to Washington. Republican candidates will fight for 595 delegates, and Democrats will compete for over 800 delegates. In the Republican field, Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Ben Carson, and John Kasich. On the Democratic side, it's a battle between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. Locally, the race for Alabama's Congressional District Number 1 is down to Bradley Byrne and Dean Young with no Democratic challenger. And incumbent U.S. Senator Richard Shelby has 4 challenges for his seat, which he has held for 30 years. Another local race getting a lot of attention is the battle between incumbent Jerry Carl and challenger Margie Wilcox for a seat on the Mobile County Commission. Alabama could be setting a record when it comes to voter turnout for a presidential primary. So far, the turnout's been high at many precincts. News 5's Chad Petrie joins us now live from St. Ignatius Catholic Church with more on the turnout around Mobile County. Chad?
Hey, Devon, this is really a good turnout. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a grand turnout. I was texting with Mark Irwin from the Mobile County Probate Court's office, who was telling me that they've had a steady turnout all morning long, not overwhelming. And it really varies depending on which polling place you go to see what kind of crowds there are. Started my morning at Tillman's Corner Community Center. Let's show you some video from just before 7 o'clock this morning. They had a nice long line of about 25 people waiting for those poll doors to open at the top of the hour, 7 o'clock, and they had a steady stream of people they compared to the 2012 primary. Over at Mobile Museum of Art, not as a strong turnout in the first 2 hours of voting. They said they were kind of slow. But back here at St. Ignatius Catholic Church, they were doing pretty well. At last check, they had more than 570 voters. They described that turnout as very, very strong. So it really depends on where you are as to how big the turnout is. And for the most part, people came out to vote for that presidential primary.
I voted for Rubio. I just think that he's probably the most effective communicator of all the options that are available.
Hillary Clinton, well, I think she's the one that can win.
I'd like to have voted for none of the above, but unfortunately I had to vote for somebody.
We have to really wait to see exactly how big that turnout is going to be later today. We expect more people to come out after work in a little more than 4 hours from now. Devon, back to you.
Chad Petrie reporting from Mobile. Thanks, Chad. Well, voters in Baldwin County have a big decision to make today. They'll be voting on whether to renew a $4 mil property tax for schools. News 5's Debbie Williams is live in Fairhope. And Debbie, any early feedback on how the vote is going today?
Well, after defeating this renewal last year, Baldwin County voters do have a second chance to level fund Baldwin County schools. It's one of only a few local issues on the ballot. With a steady stream of voters heading to the polls, education supporters say the feedback has been positive so far today. There are 2 ballot questions asking voters to renew a total of 4 mills of property tax for school funding. Doug Warren supports those renewals.
We have noticed a large number of younger voters out, and I voted this morning, obviously, and the polls were heavy early in the morning, so I think that the more voters we have, the better that is for us who are in favor of a yes vote for the referendum.
Of course, the other side of that is the no vote movement, who cites the lack of transparency and accountability in school funding as a reason to vote no. It may be a moot point, though, because a News 5 strategy poll earlier in this election cycle cited 66% of voters plan to vote yes on those school renewals. Live on the Baldwin County beat in Fairhope, Debbie Williams, News 5.
All right, thanks. So Debbie indicates higher than normal turnout in Baldwin County. News 5's Peter Albrecht's in our newsroom to talk about the turnout projections statewide. Pete?
Well, Devon, the sad truth is that in most years, only about a quarter of registered voters, not the overall population, the registered voters, bother to vote in Alabama in presidential primaries. Today, though, Secretary of State John Merrill is predicting turnout of anywhere from 34 to 42%. One reason for the optimism is that the state is at an all-time high for registered voters, about 3 million. And you can register online for the first time ever this year, and more than 60,000 people did so. Another reason for higher turnout could be the candidates. The theory is that Donald Trump has energized people generally dissatisfied with politics and has brought new voters into the system. And the same is being said on the left for Bernie Sanders. Analysts say he has especially encouraged a lot of younger people to be engaged. And yet another reason for the higher turnout is that Alabama's primary is earlier this year. The races haven't been decided. It's part of Super Tuesday. Look at the last 7 presidential cycles. Alabama's been a part of Super Tuesday just twice, and that produced the highest turnout in 2008. Turnout eroded every single time from 92 through 2004. All of those elections were in June, so Alabama went to Super Tuesday in 2008 and set a record. Of course, 2008 was Barack Obama's first run, and obviously that brought out many new voters. So we've got Super Tuesday, we've got the appeal to new voters of Trump and Sanders, and we have the ability to register online that may produce a big turnout today, maybe even a record for a presidential primary in the state. In the newsroom, Peter Albrecht, News 5.
Thanks, Pete. Well, the candidates themselves got out to the polls this morning. In Fairhope, incumbent Congressman Bradley Byrne cast his ballot. This is his second time around for the race between Byrne and challenger Dean Young. Byrne says he's confident going into tonight, but has a message for people still yet to vote.
I think it's very important for you to vote. And in our race, I hope that they will look at both candidates and ask us one question. Who's going to be the most effective person for the 1st Congressional District for Southwest Alabama? And if they ask that question, I have no doubt they're going to vote for me.
Byrne's challenger Dean Young cast his ballot this morning in Orange Beach. Young has challenged Byrne's conservative record throughout the race and hopes that will bring voters to the polls.
The turnout, they're telling me, is pretty heavy all over the county and all over the district, so we're excited about that. We know that people are going out, they're voting for Trump and Cruz and Carson, and those are the people that want to change the direction of our nation, and those are the people that I think will be voting for me.
And we will have complete election coverage. We will wrap things up tonight on News 5 at 10 o'clock.